Thank you for coming to my session, Talking, Tapping, Clicking and Coding, Developing Diverse Digital Literacy Programs in Public Libraries. Okay, clicker. So my paper talks about what it means to be digitally literate and how we at Wyndham City Libraries are consulting with our community to develop programs that are useful, meaningful, wanted and fun. What is digital literacy? It's having the confidence and the skills to access and navigate technology. It's being able to communicate, send a text message, send an email, use an online government service, or use technology for fun and entertainment, and take part in a digital society. But it's also about having the skills to create as well as consume. Public libraries are in a great position to be able to offer free, engaging, informal and fun programs that help people learn about technology and in a comfortable and accessible environment, and we can co-design these with our patrons to give them programs that they want. So I'll give you a bit of a background about our community. Who are we? In Wyndham, we have an estimated population of 228,000 people. We have the second highest birth rate across Victoria. There's an average of 12 babies born there every day. It's a lot of babies and a lot of kids. We're located in the outer suburbs of Western Melbourne. We have 5 branches in bustling shopping centres and in new suburbs with lots of new housing and commercial developments. And our residents speak a diverse range of languages, including Punjabi, Hindi and Mandarin. And also many Karen refugees from Myanmar and Thailand have chosen to settle in Wyndham. So it's interesting to note the percentage of residents who speak Karen at home is more than 10 times that of the national population of Greater Melbourne. This is important data because we can use it to help develop programs for our community. So a really good example of this is how staff have worked together, sharing IT and language skills to translate the beginner's computer class into Karen and run really well received classes for the Karen community. Now, to help in developing programs, we can look broadly at who our community is by looking at statistics. We can do research as well to find out what other libraries are doing, like making a basic online dating profile at Coburg Library. But we can also ask people directly, what do you want? When we ask people what their digital literacy needs are, we can make programs that are engaging and responsive. So some of the ways that we have to do that are feedback forms, to learn what we did well and how we can improve after events. We have a yearly IT learning needs survey on all of the public PCs and on paper forms too for people who don't use the computers. And we have feedback gathered during one-on-one sessions and also from all staff throughout the library when we talk to patrons. From the feedback forms, here's an example of one. We've learned that people love learning about computers at the library. Participants in classes say that they're an enjoyable and productive learning experience and allow them to meet new people. We can improve by offering more classes, but also feedback from these forms is limited. We're only actually talking to the people who've attended the class. We can't get, what about the patron who wanted to attend one but couldn't because that's when school pickup was? That's where the IT learning needs survey can come in. So this is a new survey. We've just completed our second one and it's aimed at all library users, not just those who already come along to the programs. We've tried to keep it short and simple with just enough ideas in there and suggestions to get some interest. We ask people what their age group is, what they want to learn about, what form of event or program they're interested in, and when and where they can go. In 2016, we had 358 responses, which is great. But in 2017, we exceeded that by far with more than 1,000 responses. This survey runs for about 1 month at the end of the year, and it's time to give us information to prepare for planning what's on in our next year's event calendar. We ask an open-ended question in this survey, and in 2016, we got 66 unique responses. That show the diverse range of topics that people are interested in. I'm just going to list a few of these now. So we've got browsing the internet, Microsoft Word, Excel, online shopping, banking, digital photos, looking for a job, how to make videos, setting up web pages, real estate, school stuff, online dating, cooking, holidays, and maths. Just have a think about what are the things that you use, all the daily things that you use technology for and the internet for. Yes, I use a mouse every day. Yes, I use email every day, but there's just so many more things as well. So the most recent survey shows us that people are really interested in internet security, with 24%. Other topics are Mac and Apple, Windows 10, phones, digital photos, and Microsoft Word. There's a broad range of interest in program types as well. We've got computer classes, workshops, talks, movie screenings, one-on-one sessions, and gaming events. They're just some of the things that people are interested in coming along to. Using this data, we can develop new programs in our calendar, such as maybe talk about an internet security and maintaining your privacy online. Or maybe we could do a workshop using smartphones. All our branches offer one-on-one IT help sessions as well. This is a digital literacy program, but it's also a really useful consultation method as well. A patron can book in and meet with a library IT staff member for 1 hour to get focused support with computers or technology. They're not new, but they remain a popular and integral library program. Patrons learn about technology, and we can also learn about what patrons want. When possible, I keep basic notes from these sessions. I write down what device the patron was using, so for example, like an iPhone or maybe the library's computer. Write down what sort of topics were covered in the session and if they're interested in attending any future programs. So over 18 months, I recorded notes for 65 sessions. Now this is a lot of things in here. But so each column represents one session, with the green cells showing when the topic was covered in that session. The most common topics that people needed help with were basic computer skills in 25 sessions. The next most popular topics were managing email, using a specific device, connecting to the library Wi-Fi, managing passwords, and Facebook. Here's page 2. So these topics weren't in isolation. People talked about a huge range of personal interests as well. So I recorded data about 34 topics, but 18 of those were only discussed with 1, 2, or 3 individual patrons. One person was really interested in Pinterest, 2 people wanted help with music, 2 people asked about Excel, 1 person was interested in podcasts, 3 people wanted to find out about blogs, and then 1 person wanted to find out how to search Gumtree for tractor prices. We can also look at this information in a relationship graph. In this, the purple nodes represent the topic or a type of technology, and these are linked to the grey nodes, which are the individual sessions. For example, there's a grey node on there that represents the woman who brought in her own laptop. She wanted help with basic computer skills, and she also wanted to learn how to transfer music onto her phone so she could listen to music while she was gardening. This graph makes it easy to see that there's some really popular topics, basic computer, email, and connecting to Wi-Fi, but these are all linked in with a huge range of other topics as well. It's also interesting to note that there's some outliers, like there's the one guy who just wanted to look at help with energy comparison website, and that's all he wanted to do. The range of digital literacy interests and queries of library patrons is diverse, and staff need to be adaptable, and we need to be able to research and investigate a broad range of issues and topics with patrons. In one-on-one sessions, we try to help people become more confident with technology, and what this data doesn't show in the graphs before are the emotional and social aspects of a one-on-one session. It doesn't show the times when a patron cries or is overcome with emotion from frustration with technology and relief at having someone to talk to about it. Technology is constantly changing, and the digital divide can be overwhelming to someone who does not feel confident on their own in navigating, exploring, and making mistakes and working things out. One patron booked in a session for help with internet security. When I started to talk to him, I found out that he'd actually fallen victim to a type of inheritance scam. Someone had made contact with him over Skype, developed a friendship over 8 months, and slowly started asking for money to help with legal fees or to help a family member with paying rent. He was wary all along and he'd kept copies of all the documents and communication, but he grew more suspicious when he found out that the barrister mentioned in the documents wasn't registered. I listened and helped him to confirm that yes, it was a scam, and we took steps to secure his accounts. And I helped him to report this to ScamWatch, the ACCC website. He wanted to share his story to help other people recognise and avoid similar scams. At the end of the session, he said he felt more comfortable talking with a library staff member than with his family, as staff are emotionally involved. He could tell me that he'd lost money, and I wasn't going to get upset about it. People can feel disconnected or overwhelmed and maybe embarrassed and avoid asking friends and family for support. A library staff member can be a listener in a non-judgmental and supportive capacity who, even if they don't know the answer, can help find out. So some ways that we find out what patrons want are the feedback forms and the survey, and by making notes on things that they ask about. These methods tell us what patrons want, so that when we develop programs, we're not just making a guess, but basing these on evidence. Feedback forms and the survey consistently show that people still want to learn about the internet, email, and Microsoft Word. They also want to know about that huge range of social media and online services as well, like Facebook, digital photos, Skype, booking travel. So we've adapted our computer classes to be shorter, now 5 weeks instead of 7, and more adaptable to the participants' needs, with more intermediate topics like Facebook and Word and all of those things covered in extra workshops. And at Point Cook Library, where we're undergoing renovations, we have limited space and computers to run programs. So we've modified the class to be not held at the computers in the computer room, but on laptops anywhere in the library. The survey shows that people still really want these classes, and they're also interested in workshops as well. So we're running these standalone workshops where people can come along, learn some basic skills, and also then work on activities that allow them to practice searching the internet and give them experience using online technology. Like, for example, we do a search about what's the most common password, so they can learn about how to set safer passwords. We use Google Maps to get directions and find reliable health information as well. And also some help with searching, they have a go at searching Wikipedia. Then the students also have a go at using Google image search to find out the answer to the question, how do otters sleep? And the answer is holding hands, so they don't drift apart. So the IT teams also worked in partnership with with the Library Education and Youth Services team to develop programs that enable kids to create content as well as consuming it. At Code Club, primary school age kids can explore and learn to create games, simple programs and web pages. We use free resources from the Code Club website. We hold 8 weekly 1-hour sessions for groups of 10 to 15 students. And most of the coding is in Scratch, which is up on the screen at the moment. It's a simple drag and drop coding language where kids can quickly grasp concepts of like logical sequences. They can quickly learn to make objects move around on the X and Y axes. They learn about loops and they learn about variables. But sometimes they also learn some really basic skills. There's always a few kids in the class who've never actually used a mouse before. They might have only used tablets or touchscreens. So part of it is about teaching them to transfer their existing knowledge and understanding of a digital space from a tablet to a desktop and learn those fine motor skills of left and right click, which will set them up to be creators of the content as well as just consumers. It's been a really fun experience and really well-received program. The library staff have gained skills and experience running digital literacy programs, learning coding skills, working with different age groups. Along with our regular programs as well, the library staff are agile and have access to adaptable space, and we can run pop-up events, work with festivals, and run impromptu workshops as well, learning about and using all kinds of technology. So a few of these ones are a Makey workshop, where we partnered with a local high school. Makey are like a simple circuit board input kit. You can bind them with anything that's conductive to make a simple computer controller. In this photo, it shows the students making pianos out of fruit, and they also made computer mice out of pencil drawings. We had a pop-up augmented reality games for Seniors Week, where patrons could play tangrams, word games and drawing games using real-life objects to interact with the iPad, experiencing new ways of combining technology and fun. One of the Osmo apps allows you to trace drawings on the paper using the screen by looking at the screen and seeing where the pen moves on the paper. One patron said it gave him the confidence to start drawing. He gained digital literacy skills, which helped him to take up a creative activity that he hadn't thought he could do before. We've also held virtual reality sessions with young adults during exam time to allow them to experience VR and take a break from studying, to explore virtual ski slopes and virtual scuba diving. We've run games nights where young adults and adults bring their own devices and meet up with other people in the library to play Hearthstone, which is an online card game. And we've also run a bus tour during the Wyndham Learning Festival, where participants explored some local sites and learnt digital photography techniques using their smartphones or iPads. So libraries are in a unique position. They are free, provide digital literacy support and education opportunities without underlying sales motivation that are there in similar IT service points, such as computer shops or phone shops. And all staff across the branches are, by necessity, IT generalists. Everyone develops the capacity to assist people with a multitude of devices and informational needs. Staff can empower patrons of all ages and needs to develop digital literacy skills, along with social connection, creativity, and community engagement. So the key messages, I think, of my talk. Technology is constantly evolving. Personal devices are everywhere, but many people are still overwhelmed by technology and don't have the confidence to take part in a digital society. Teaching digital literacy skills is really relevant. We do make a difference in people's lives. It's useful and meaningful to so many people to have a library where they can ask staff, how do I attach this document to an email? Or can you help me to connect to the Wi-Fi? We can encourage people to learn and explore, to create digital content as well. Effective programs must be agile, developed with patrons and be adapted to their needs. We can do this by reflecting on sessions, keeping a record of IT help interactions, conducting surveys and asking for feedback. So we're aware of how our community uses technology and what their digital learning needs are. We can use this feedback to create and tailor programs for diverse audiences, from kids to adults, from beginners to people who are more experienced with technology. We can implement programs based on our unique communities. We can translate languages into community languages, and we can focus on topics of local interest. And we can do all these things by having fun with programs and technology. Finally, I want to acknowledge the fantastic work of all the staff at the library in developing and running these programs, particularly the IT team and the Youth Education and Youth Services team, and my manager, Tom Edwards. Thank you, everybody. Do you have any suggestions?
I guess we'll open up for questions. There's microphones there, there, and there. Oh, they'll bring them over to me.
Okay.
Hi, Margaret. Thank you so much for that presentation. It was really insightful and some really great ideas that can be transferred to a whole heap of other different libraries. I'm really interested about the feedback and evaluation process, whether you're capturing the benefits after a course or a one-on-one, whether that learning has specifically sunk in, and then what people are actually doing with that knowledge afterwards. So kind of like the follow-up to see whether that learning has actually been deeply embedded and is transforming their lives.
Yeah, well, that's actually something that we realise that we don't do very much. So we're trying to work out a new way to gather that information, to work out, has this information made an impact on someone's lives? Not just by talking to them and making notes and seeing how they feel, but actually asking them, do you now have confidence to do something that you weren't able to do before? Or do you think you'll have a go of this at home on your own? So we're working with the research team at Council as well to work out how we can make a form that's not too much, at the end of a session, you don't really want to do too much detail and feedback. So something that we can gather really useful information from which will help us to measure that, and develop new things after that,
Just in relation to that question, I've been using the ALIA Public Library Standards Guidelines and Outcome Measures to look at digital literacy.
Yeah.
And we ask about 3 questions about feeling connected to family and friends. Will you use this? But also ask, was your training over 3 months ago, and are you still using this? So have a look. It's easy to find that on the internet, the ALIA Standards Guidelines and Outcome Measures.
Yeah, because that's a really good point, because you want to make sure people are connecting with their family as well, connecting with their friends, and it's good to see if it's a measured thing over a longer period of time. Yeah.
Thank you, Margaret.
Hi.
You mentioned that internet security was high on people's agenda. Have you done the eSmart Libraries program and become an
We've done the eSmart Libraries
so
program.
you use that quite a bit for your internet security.
Yeah, well, we ask
teaching
people
yeah.
what they want help with, and then we kind of work from there about trying to tailor it really to what they want. There's also a really cool tool that Tom found that's a website where you can do a self-evaluation, and you work out what you use technology for, and then it can kind of give you the main areas, but we can ask Tom what that's called maybe later.
Hi Margaret, we run similar programs up in Mackay, North Queensland. My question is, do you have a way of reaching out to the people who don't come into the library to get the information as to what they want to learn? This is where I'm struggling at the moment.
Yeah, well, we're actually looking at how we can perhaps offer that like IT support over the internet, or remotely with people in their home and at the library. So I don't know if we have a solution yet, but there's some different services we're looking at that you can work with remotely. Yeah. So I think it's something that we're working on as well.
I've got a question over here, Mike Bearer. Our biggest problem in our service is we've got the demand and we've got people interested. We don't have the staffing or the IT infrastructure to offer as many courses as we'd like. Have you restructured your organisation to better meet that sort of need, or how do you balance the needs of what you call traditional library service against these more specialist resources? I'm not saying you shouldn't. Yeah. I'm just saying, how do you balance those needs?
Well, I don't think there's been a restructure for that. But I think what we're trying to do is work with different teams. So I'm in the IT team, but we're also trying to work, like the IT team is trying to work with all the other program teams as well to increase confidence in staff confidence in running these programs with people as well without IT support. So like with Code Club, so Vanessa, who runs Code Club with me at Point Cook, she's in the youth team, and she'd never done coding before, and we just sort of worked through it together. And she's amazing, and she makes games, and she runs the program on her own and things. So I think it's about like increasing confidence in staff across the whole organisation.
Hello, Margaret. It's Ed Kostraba here. I'm interested in the connection of fusion between the public library and, say, school libraries in your area. You have a massive growth area, and quite a number of massive schools that have been established last number of years. Mm-hmm. So is there any incursion into schools without treading on teachers' toes, like fusion for information with the students as well?
Well, we always try to form partnerships and get involved with the schools. We do run a program where we hand out prep bags to all the students, to students who are starting school, to try and develop that relationship. Mm-hmm. And I don't think it's necessarily really intruding on different areas, but it's more like encouraging that partnership to be developed. So with the Makey workshop, we had students who were in the VCAL course come over to the library and use the space and use the library kits, but they came along with their teachers, and they had a 1 hour session in the library, and then we also provided the teachers with some suggestions on like a follow-up lesson to have at the school as well, using coding and working out how they can use those controllers with coding.
Do you see this as a growth area for yourself as well?
Yes.
Like connecting with schools and secondary and primary schools?
Yeah, I think that it's really, I think making more of those partnerships to do more of those programs, because it's great to get people in and using the resources and using the space, sharing the knowledge across between the schools and the libraries too.
Mm. And last question, do you need any more staff there?
Just a quick comment, that security toolkit Margaret referred to is securityplanner.org. So it's a self-assessment tool. That,
Tom's the boss.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tom.
Hello.
Hello.
That was a great talk. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Rachel from Moreland Libraries. I'd love your thoughts on, I guess, the pressure that digital literacy programs have in terms of supporting things like the post office or the banking, because I think, and Centrelink, we have a lot of patrons that come in are directly referenced to us by social services and providers. So, and we're happy to service them in one-on-one programs, but I think that it's a bigger, it's a pressure point for us and one that's only going to get bigger.
Yep. Yeah, well, with the one-on-ones, that's the kind of place that we would do that kind of support, but we've also developed some IT support guidelines where we try to work out what library staff can help with without kind of getting too close to the kind of the content that people are dealing with. So like I help the patron with submitting the form online with the scan, but for someone who wants help with their banking, I would try to advise them to contact their bank maybe. I don't really want to help them transfer money between accounts, and it's, that sounds like not something good. But also, we can kind of meet those needs in the one-on-one sessions, but with the workshops that we're running now at Point Cook, because they're kind of like the beginner computer class, but they're not in a private room, we have to run them out in a library. So I've had to kind of change it to not be about setting up an email account, which is where you put your information in, and like asking people to put that in. And so it's more, we have to do it more like the sort of using Google Maps or doing some more things that are general and not too personal. Yeah.
Sorry, I might have an answer to part of Rachel's question. Rachel, we developed a partnership with our local Centrelink office, and they've got multicultural officers who'll actually come out, and we've actually had sessions in our libraries where we've got somebody from Centrelink, somebody from Medicare and somebody from the ATO, and they sit there for a couple of hours and just help people with any of those online situations, and it's actually taken a bit of pressure off our library staff on those requests.
We've had that in the library, which is a really great resource for us, but we don't really have many people turn up. So
no,
it's a bit of a...
We actually had more success with grabbing people who were already in the library than sort of like advertising it and getting people to come specifically. But yeah, it is a valuable source because then we're not dealing with the privacy issues